always go back to that authoritative source. That's what they do. Now we can break out of it, like we're doing, right? But the general population, especially if they hang out with each other, and be like, "Oh, dude, somebody showed me a water level, and he thinks the Earth is flat." But clearly, I remember it's round because I saw a picture. Right? This is the force you're up against with
Who do you think does that, dude?
Everybody, bro.
No, you're talking about people that don't exist. You're only talking about the people in Gem Panda's server.
Oh, no.
That's all you're talking about. People in reality
right?
don't do that.
All the guys I work with, all the people I work with, everybody I know, right? They know that I look into flat Earth, but I don't bring it in hardcore. It's like, yo, man, just checking some shit out, science and stuff. It's a great show because they wonder what I do. Like, who do you hang out with and shit? And I'm like, well, I actually get on these shows and talk about science and geometry and just cool shit. Like, tell them, in the end, it's about flat Earth, and they're like, ah, right? And they won't look into it at all. They won't.
It's because you use the word flat Earth. It's not flat.
Well, don't say that at first, right?
It's not flat,
because
though.
even the words science and geometry put most people off, right? They're like, fuck it. They already know what they need to know, So what my original question to you, Bev, was, how do we take exactly your logic, not just yours,
it's not my logic.
The logic of what is
just
horizontal,
logic.
Right? What is horizontal? How do we take that to the next step to
no
folks, right? Because you can't say the word flat Earth.
We use level being horizontal in reality to explain logically the process that's occurred to people because you can take them through the process, you can take them through the basic process, and they'll agree that level is horizontal. And once you've gone through that process, you can then ask them how they imagine that water level being horizontal can wrap around a ball. And at that point,
at some point, we have to bring up the idea, right?
The idea of the ball.
Yeah.
Right. After you've shown them reality, you then show them the ball. You never need to bring up flat ever. Because flat Earth is a misnomer.
It is.
And a label that you have to take on that means stupid. It means retarded. That's all flat Earth means now.
I get it. Yeah. It means terrorist, communist, racist. It means all these things, right?
Well, I don't know. I think it just means absolutely stupid.
Yeah.
Because they've got an idea in their heads that science is the all-knowing entity of all knowledge, when it's not. It's just a way to wrap people's minds around.
So Bev, on mainstream media, they've talked about the absurdity.
I don't watch.
I know, I don't either, but I watch YouTube of independent folks who would look, this is what the mainstream media is saying. I don't have TV.
I don't listen to anybody that says.
Shit, right?
If anybody says to me the mainstream media says, I say I don't want to know. Why are you telling me?
Exactly what you were saying and we are saying.
So are you taking someone else's word? What mainstream media says, Aaron?
Okay, listen. How easy would it be to deceive a whole bunch of people when they watch mainstream media? And the flat Earth topic has come up, right? So it's in folks' minds. They've heard it, right?
Listen,
it's a new topic.
I struggle enough. But what's in my mind and the way to order it. I do not want to think about anybody else. There's some weird people out there.
Then listen, Ben. If we're going to try to affect any.
I'm not.
More logic, right? More a spread of logic. Right?
No, logic just is.
But people don't have it, right?
Well, but that's listen. I'm not I've got no superpower that you can give logic to people. It's not like that. Whoever it is, the individual has to want to learn it. Now, it's like if you've seen The Matrix and you see the people that want to go back in the Matrix. Well, it's like that. You offer them a piece of logic, a piece of reality, and they'll most of the time people will shout at you and look at you weird, and you can see their eyes glaze over. They don't want to hear it anymore, and you know to stop talking to them, because if you do, they'll break down. They'll go against you, so you have to stop it.
They'll get aggressive, exactly.
Yeah. So everybody
that
gets really aggressive goes to Jim Panzer's server.
So knowing what we know,
what are you trying to allude to, Aaron? This next step? Are you trying to allude to let's go knocking on the government's door?
I think he wants a leader.
And so no government. Come on, Mr. Government. Let's start teaching everyone that the Earth is flat. Is that what you're trying to allude to?
I agree with
Because what's this next step?
I agree with Bansaw's come from. Like, it doesn't matter if we get out of our bubble, as long as we know logic and we have this circle of information, Bev and Ranty and Bandsaw, and just the idea to correct the mind. Hold on,
what are you doing?
Hold on.
No,
we
you're
can
just
actually
talking
have a happy
shite.
life. We can
Don't think of me and Bandsaw and Ranty as your leaders. That's not what we are, Bandsaw. You don't want to be. You don't want to be Aaron's sort of leader or anything, do we? You don't need to follow us or anything, Aaron. You'd be all right.
All I said was you and every folks, they offer information, right? So I can contemplate it in my mind. I can think about it. I can digest it. I can create my own, like Bandsaw said, my own little bubble of, you know what? This is logical, right? Now, I can watch a movie. That's not reality. I get it. But when I go outside, I go to work, or I raise kids, or you grow food, or you just live your life. That's reality. I get it. Now, every time I leave my bubble, I have to go into a place where everybody else is like this fucking weirdo to me, right?
Why?
Yeah.
Why?
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 You're roboting.
Yeah, that's your issue that everyone. You're hanging around with all these weirdos.
Dude, you don't want us to sort that out for you. I can't do that.
I can't stand people anymore after all the information you guys have provided to me, right?
I tell you what, we'll get DP to do you a t-shirt. That'll sort you out. You can have the power of a DP t-shirt.
I love my t-shirt. My On the Level page. I love it.
You need to pick your friends better, Aaron. Right?
Yeah.
You need to pick your friends better.
I can't have any friends anymore, man.
Just stand up for
Why
yourself,
not?
man.
Why?
Just on a globe face.
What the
You have
fuck?
to go out outside your bubble.
I am
I love
me.
my fucking friends. They think I'm the fucking craziest motherfucker going around, but I love my friends. Right? Like, what the fuck?
Yeah. Mine too, but that's kind of still considered in our bubble. They might be on the edge.
But so it's Aaron. It's how you conduct yourself with people, right? Yeah. If you want to fucking rumpus people, of course you got to piss people off, and people don't want to associate with you. Conduct yourself in a nice way, and everything's good. Sun comes up in the morning, goes down at night.
I just said, Bandsaw, everything is good. Everything is okay.
Yeah. But you're looking at everyone as though they're weirdos. Why would you? Why waste that energy doing that?
To you?
Why?
Because it's fun. Yeah.
Do I waste my time thinking that I associate with weirdos? No, I just go out to have a good time, my friend.
No. You didn't listen. I said when I have to leave the bubble, I have to deal with weirdos. Deal with them.
But I'm not going out of my bubble, Aaron, I am not dealing with dickheads like Rumpus, right?
Yeah.
Oh,
My bubble
no,
doesn't
I'm talking
include
about
these
reality.
people.
I'm not
Yeah,
talking about
my
online.
reality,
Online. I'm not
I
talking
don't
about
have
online.
reality saying I live on a big blue spinning testicle.
No.
My
I don't deal
reality
with Rumpus
says
at
to
all.
me, I've got to go to work, I've got to
I'm not
earn
talking
money,
about
I've
gems
got to look
or
after my
Randy. No.
kids, I've got to grow
I'm
my
talking about
potatoes and
reality.
carrots and all that sort
When
of
I
stuff.
go to
Right?
Lowe's, right? When I go to Home Depot, or when I go to go
Yeah.
outside our local area, right? You just see fucking idiots, dude. That's what I see.
People like Rumpus don't exist out there, though. People like Rumpus and
right.
George and all of that only
They
exist.
do not exist
here.
in reality.
They
Mhm.
only
right.
exist in this. I'm going to call this a community, and
Yeah, I'm
they
not
are
worried
the
about Rumpus.
toxic
I don't
part to this
exactly.
community.
Yeah, I'm not worried about all those voices. Exactly. No. I'm just talking about what's the next step, because logically, Bev, you're talking about a human trait to understand what is logical, what is true or reasonable, or at least
step,
right. You know,
right. My next step, like I've always done, I've learned to live by the Logos. It tells me what to do all the time. I live my live my life by the seat of my pants, with Logos telling me what I'm going to do next. And so the next thing I think at the minute is this bullying and horrible behavior and people being bigoted against other groups of people. That's where I'm going next. People that think it's fine to be able to judge other people when everybody's an individual, that everybody's different, that no two people are the same, and no two people will have the same argument. So treat everybody as an individual and start getting that across. We might end up with a better community and not with all of this toxic, horrible hate that we have at the minute. And it's nasty. It brings everybody down. It gets everybody upset. Gets everybody on the back foot when people come in. And that's how the conversations start off. And it never progresses.
There are certain folks like us that can listen to other folks, even it's on a computer or a screen or somebody. You listen to them, you can tell they're genuine. You can tell they're not there to harm you, right? You pick it up, and so and you can also listen to the information that they're telling you, right? So like Bev, I do not have to believe you at all about your presentation last night on Brandon's. I don't have to, but it's logic. It makes sense, right? I get it, but all that I was hearing was words, right? Basically, I don't have to listen to Right the Hand. I don't have to listen to Pete Shea or Bandsaw or Fe or Travis or Ranty, or I don't have to, but it makes sense. Now, some other folks need like a visual type of interaction to say, oh, that makes sense, right? Because we can sit here and talk and talk and talk. The community grows a little bit. We had 25 people on Ranty's tonight, after 4 years. So, Ranty doing all the hard work. Like, how do we grow that? What's the next step to get people's mind to even accept the fact that maybe they can click on that button and say, hey, you know what? I want to engage in this conversation because I saw this, right? I saw this logic, not proof.
We just keep doing what we do.
Right?
We just keep doing.
How did you get here, Aaron? How did you? Everyone has their own personal path. They take put one foot in front of the other. We all get to where we go at whatever particular time we get there. You can't force anything on anyone. All you can affect is your own.
When did I say
bubble.
force, Bandsaw? You better back the fuck up. I never said force anything on anybody.
No,
okay?
I'm not backing up. I'm fucking in overdrive at the moment, my friend. I'm in fucking overdrive because you're like, what's the fucking next one? How are we gonna fucking move this fucking? How are we gonna fucking force it in fucking? Exactly. People take their own step. Right? You're gonna breathe, Aaron. Breathe, relax. It's all right.
Yeah. I understand we can't force anything. That's why there are certain ways to input senses, right? Senses. We have 5 of them: hearing, sight, taste, touch, sound, smell. Okay. Now, I got into conspiracies by listening, basically, right? But some people are visual. They want the actual visual effect. Okay, so I'm not like I don't do any experiments. I don't force anything, but they're so visual that the media does present visual images of black holes and comets coming by, right? So they understand that information and they believe that it's real, even though there's no conversation about it. They're just like, okay, that's cool. So I was just wondering if Bev's on the level, if we could.
That's their choice. They choose to believe and take in whatever they want to, right? They choose to do it. We choose to do what we do. They choose to do what they do. Yeah. That's kind of like the end of the story.
It is kind of, yeah.
Right?
Basically. Because I get that. And Bev's example there of like, if you do get to talk and show somebody, you know, let's say like Dell on the street, right? You know, he had his computer out just showing images and stuff. You could see those people just thinking about what he was saying, you know. And so an experiment or an idea, like not an idea, but the logic that Bev is putting out, right? This is it. And it's, you cannot say that water does not.
So why aren't you doing that, Aaron? If you're concerned about the next step and what we might, why aren't you out there trying to make a bigger step?
Because I have no hope in society, that's why.
Okay then, so just throw your hands up in defeat and don't worry about it.
Why would I put
that onus on other people's shoulders to carry your burden.
No
Is that
onus,
what you're suggesting?
No onus. I didn't put an onus and say, Bev, you have to go out there and prove this to the world. I never said that.
But you want to know what the next step is. You want to know what Bev's next step is, what my next step is, whatever the next step is.
The best thing we can do is to teach our own children. Each of us do our own thing to teach our own children and talk to our own families. And if we all do then...
Your own bubble, Paige. Your own bubble.
Yep.
That is.
We can touch the entire world if everybody did that.
That is the answer. We.
I'm not doing this for me. I don't have these arguments with these idiots for me. I'm doing it for my 3 boys so that them and their children, you know, hopefully, can grow up in a world where we're actually honest about shit, you know?
Right, good time for me to go. Been killed.
All right, Bev, you have a good sleep.
Catch you later.
You know, bloody traffic's on the road ever since these restrictions. I love restrictions when there's no traffic. Now there's no restrictions, there's traffic.
Something like yours, or was it useless?
Yeah, the water's only as thick as your skin, like on that scale, and that's why it's sort of like clinging to the bottom, and gravity can hold it down and stuff.
No, it's not. That's why they say it's doing that, but it's not.
Yeah, it's pretty deep, bro. I've been in the ocean. It's like the fucking hundreds.
That's the globe troll to get back.
Thought experiments are not useless, to answer your question.
But okay, so what use was my thought experiment?
Well, you constructed a useless one, but it doesn't mean that every thought experiment is useless.
So the one that matches
so because
reality,
it's the same as reality, it's useless.
How about Neil deGrasse when he says that if you were giant and you could touch the surface of the earth, you wouldn't even feel the mountains and the valleys? Because they're just that smooth.
What does he know? He doesn't.
Well,
Neil's an idiot.
What about that?
Well, he says if you were a giant and you
I heard that video.
Finger across the ball, you'd barely feel a ripple of mountains and valleys and stuff. You wouldn't even notice them on your skin.
Is that what you believe?
Fuck no. He's a fucking idiot.
No, not you, Jimbo. Not you, Jimbo. I know you.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Could you eat the
But
Earth?
first, you have to presuppose that you're on a ball.
He can imagine this stuff, but he can't imagine a big flat plane. That's crazy.
Who said I can't imagine that? No, that's uncalled for. You can't imagine.
So you can't imagine that we're living
water flowing downhill. You ever hear that? Water flows downhill. Not around a curve. Water flows downhill. It's strange.
And then gathers in a pool.
It can't be true if it's flowing down a curve.
Water just flows to the lowest point it can. It follows the gravity.
Did you know, Parmesan, did you know you can show with a water level and a little pressure gauge, you can show whether the middle, like if you've got a point that goes from A to B, and you put a bit in the middle and put this little connection on, test the pressure of the water there, you can see whether the water is any higher or lower than the two endpoints using this little pressure gauge. So we already have definitely disproven that water either humps or drops down. Like there is literally no argument left.
Yeah, but Paige, all you've done there is confirm the fact that water conforms to the forces acting on it, which is exactly the same as it would in a gravitational model.
Pressure. So you've checked the pressure at either end.
Yes, when they're level, they're all the same.
Yes, because level is curved, so as
horizontal.
Long as the height,
but we've also tested.
Not horizontal.
But you've also tested that. Yes, because yes, because then the surveying that they do is done with your normal Cartesian coordinates on a plane. No matter how short you want to say they're doing it on a plane with X, Y, Z Cartesian coordinates. So if the water is level, horizontal, and equal pressure, then it's not level going around a ball, it's level horizontal.
I mean, there's so much wrong with that. I don't want to get into that discussion again. But every surveying textbook...
How dare you? How dare you say there's so much wrong with that, but then weasel out of saying what's wrong with it?
Okay, I'll leave it on one point. Every surveying textbook teaches that level is
every
curved.
Actual surveyor who is out surveying says level is horizontal.
Incorrect.
And the tools they use are
No, I am correct. You go and ask one. We've got video of one saying that. No, ask one outside of this discussion. Just a normal surveyor with no dogs in the fight.
Yeah, I have actually. And they told me the same thing, that it's curved.
Bullshit. I don't believe you for a second.
I wasn't expecting you to believe me, but...
How do you even level a circle?
Then
how do you
do it again and tape it and prove what you claim. Stop coming here and telling us what you think and what your religious beliefs are with no proof. Because we're all getting sick of it. Not just you personally, I'm talking about your entire side of this argument. For years now, you guys have been backed into a corner, yet you just keep fighting. You will not concede. It's absolute insanity.
How do you level a circle?
I would say the other way around.
What is that? What is leveling a circle? What do you do? What point is level? The top, the bottom? That's such a ridiculous
Parmesan,
idea.
all your side has for us now is to be nasty.
Was
How
I
do you
nasty?
level a tire? Well, if I brought my car to you and was like...
Or obfuscate. Sorry, Chris, you go. I'll stop now. Because you said, I don't want to talk about... Oh, you go, Chris.
Because it's a long discussion, and I thought this was ending, and I'm getting ready to go. I mean, you can go and ask somebody else. There's plenty of people who will talk to you about surveying and how level is curved in surveying. Sea level is curved.
How do you level a tire? Can you, if somebody brought you a car tire and asked you to level it, what would you do?
I would make sure that the surface of the tyre was equidistant from the centre of the rim.
How do you level a circle? I mean, that question is nonsensical. How do you level a circle?
Exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
well done for realising that.
You've created a situation in which you're talking nonsensical. I'm just talking it back. All you're saying, level is a curved circle. And I'm going, how do you level a curve? And you're going, that's nonsensical. I'm like, yes, I know, because you just said it. All I'm doing is repeating it back.
Because you're saying, how do you level something
well,
that is
you're
already
saying
a level?
that it's done.
You're
saying you did something. And I said, how did you do it? And you say, that's nonsensical. So you don't see that when I'm asking you how you would.
You're saying, how do you level?
You're saying what I said is nonsensical.
Because the question, how do you level a circle, doesn't make sense.
Chris, have you noticed they're getting you to argue about the structure of your question rather than the argument itself? You see what their tactics are?
It doesn't make sense because you can't level a circle.
Damage
That's why it doesn't make sense. If I said, could you level this line? Yeah, you could do that. Make the line straight, make it horizontal. Now it's level, right? Parallel to the earth. Then you say level a circle. You're like, oh, that's nonsense. Yeah, exactly. Your idea of what level is nonsense. Nonsensical.
By definition, a circle, the
I don't care about definition. You just said it's nonsense.
Your question was nonsense.
Yeah, it's nonsense by logic. Logically, when you talk about your ideas, they're nonsensical. According to you.
That's not true.
Even you think your own ideas are nonsensical. And then you're going to go to the definition.
No, I think your characterization of them is nonsensical.
Why?
Because a circle already means that every point on the circle, on the circumference of the circle, is at the same distance from the center. So it's already, in a way, it's already level.
It's not level.
That is exactly what level is.
Do you think you could hand somebody a stick and say, can you level this, and they'll turn it vertical for you? Do you think anyone in reality would ever do that?
What does that mean? Can you level a stick? What does that mean?
If I gave you a stick and said to you, can you hold this up level for me, please? Do you think that person would hold it up in a vertical orientation?
Level with what?
Oh.
If you want to have it.
So the point is that everybody
with water level then.
What are you leveling something to? So you're saying level has to be represented against something else.
Yeah, right? They don't realize level is an actual orientation.
It can't just be a circle. It can't just be a circle by itself. That's not a level. That's equidistant. Okay, you're talking nonsensical.
I'm sorry that you don't understand what a level in surveying is, but
don't tell us what we don't understand, Parmesan.
Bingo.
You have no right. You have no right to say we don't understand because you're not inside our heads. We're not saying you don't understand. We're giving you our argument, asking you to rebut it, and you're not. You're saying, I don't want to talk about this. I can't be here for this much longer. You don't understand.
But you're not giving me any argument. You're just saying it's not, rather than actually giving any substance.
A water level, Parmesan.
Okay, water level. What about it?
So if I gave you a stick and said level that to the water level, what would you do with the stick? Would you try and curve the stick?
If it was long enough, yes.
You would actually, in reality, come to me trying to curve the stick down if I said...
If it was a stick that was 4 miles long, like a bridge, yes.
So when somebody brings you something and says, can you level this? You just bend it into a circle.
I would say level to what?
Okay, so why are you bending it into a circle before you even know what you're trying to level it to? See, you're broken, dude.
No, because she said level to water. You see, that's what you keep.
But then
you keep changing the question. Hold on. I'm not having this
because
anymore.
we have to look at this for as many different directions.
Hold on, Paige. I want to get what I want to get out, because this has been quite frustrating, actually.
It is.
You keep. Are you going to let me talk?
Share your pain.
Sorry. Yes, of course, Parmesan. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Every time you conflate what I'm saying and you move the goalposts. She specifically asked me, how would you level a stick to water level? And that's where I gave my explanation. And then you translated that and tried to misrepresent what I was saying, strawman me, by saying, you how can you say you'd level it without asking what to first? Right.
So when you say
that is not on, and I'm not having it.
Okay, wait, hold on. So how do you? Why would you curve something to level it? Why would you do that?
Yeah, why did you curve it when I said level it to the horizon?
You said level it to the water level.
Yeah.
Because
so
water level is curved.
How have you proven that?
Establish a curve. So we use water levels and levels to establish a curve.
Yeah, not. They're a tool we use, a water level. What does it establish?
It's not a curve.
It establishes the water level. That's where
it establishes a horizontal plane of reference.
Yeah. Does it make a curve?
Incorrect.
Do we use levels?
Rubbish. Oh my goodness, don't you dare be that dishonest. Even your side will admit that a level establishes a horizontal plane of reference. They will then argue that it's only at one point, but they at least acknowledge.
At one point, yes.
So please don't get that.
At one point,
please
yes,
don't
I
get
agree.
that dishonest. Okay.
Well,
so it does establish a horizontal plane.
Define a point.
I didn't hear any of that.
You can't be horizontal at a point. Horizontal means 2 points.
Okay.
A point is that which has no parts.
Straight line.
Okay. So where is when you say level at a point or horizontal at a point, that's impossible.
Are you
but
sure?
We're getting off the track that you bent that stick when I said to level it to the horizon. I'm sorry, the water level, even though you know a water level establishes a horizontal plane. So again, why did you bend the stick? If I said level it to the water level.
As I said.
And a water level establishes a horizontal plane.
As I said, if the stick is long enough and you want me to level it to the water level, then a water level that is long enough will bend, will be curved. Therefore,
how do you know that?
Yeah, because every water level we have on the Earth at the moment establishes a horizontal plane, no matter the size.
At one point.
And it's only curved if you presuppose
you can't have just a point has no parts.
That is.
Well, you just agreed that a point can't be horizontal.
A plane has to have horizontal. XY coordinates to be a plane. So if it establishes a horizontal plane, then it's not a point. You can extend that. You can extend that plane forever because it doesn't matter. It literally doesn't even matter what the ground is underneath it. The ground can be, up and down, up and down, up and down, up and down, all little bubbly bits all over the place. And then you set up your auto level and get yourself your, you drop your plumb bob, get yourself your horizontal plane of reference, and you can literally just spread that horizontal out as far as you want.
Yeah, what was your answer to how come water's curved? I'm still curious.
What do you mean, how come water's curved? Because it follows the curvature of the Earth.
Where have you ever had that demonstrated?
Yeah, it's demonstrated. That's not true.
So when you want to establish
water level,
a curve, you'll use a water level. Like if you're trying to make something curved, nice and even, you'll whip out the water level and the spirit levels. Come on, man.
Do you imagine he's got
If you were trying to establish an arch, right, like a long curve, you're telling me you would use a spirit level or a water level to do that? To make a long curving arch, you would use water levels and spirit levels? Come on, bro. Those are used for horizontal lines.
Spirit level is not a water level. Sorry, gently go.
Well, a spirit level has water in it.
I'm trying to understand why you imagine he would have a 4-mile water level. Who's got one of those?
He said 4 miles. I said, hold this stick up to the water level. And he said, well, if I had a 4-mile long stick, it'd be curved.
Exactly.
No.
So
a water level establishes a horizontal plane of reference.
Yeah. Well, who would use a water level to make a big curve? That's not what we do. In reality, if we're trying to make something straight without deviation, we'll use a level. When you don't care about deviation, you just eyeball it. You guys man, this is it. This is where the
because they presuppose they're on a ball. So with every argument, they presuppose they're on a ball, and then when we say no, you're presupposing you're on a ball, they go, but I know it's a ball. That's why I'm presupposing it's a ball.
But I know it's a ball.
Yeah, because I know it's a ball. So I'm getting the question because I know it's a ball.
They showed me a globe. They said, you live here.
It's okay to assume that, but if that assumption then leads you to that these horizontals are curved, that's when I'd be like, okay, I got to give it up.
Yeah, you got to think twice then.
You got to let go.
Yeah.
They just shove it in. They just shove it in no matter what. Just shove it in.
Just like Rumpus says, when you talk to a flat earther, you have to ram it down their throats. Like, excuse me? Yeah, that's exactly what you did to us. When we were children, before we could critically think, you rammed all this shit down our throats, and now we've got people like Parmesan who have gone off into such a la-la land that they can't come back to the foundation, back to reality, and see where everything diverged and curved off.
Exactly. He
La
literally thinks level is curved. That is amazing. That is mind-blowing.
Every geodetic surveying
yeah, they calculate the curve in, Parmesan, yeah.
And
they
if
don't
every
measure
geodetic
it,
surveyor
they
told me that the
calculate it.
boogeyman, if they told me the boogeyman was real, would you believe them? Or
Of course you would, if they did it young enough.
Yeah, if they got them young enough. Yep.
Every geodetic surveying textbook.
That's why kids believe in Santa. When you tell them Santa's not real, they get upset, don't they? Because they really did actually believe it. Because their parents, who they trusted, said, yeah, this strange man comes down the chimney each year and leaves you presents.
Nope. No, he does not.
No, he doesn't.
Every geodetic surveying book that is used to teach...
Yes, Parmesan, because they calculate...
Surveyors, let me finish. To teach surveyors,
he doesn't understand
a level being curved. And these people... After learning,
yes, Parmesan, because people like us have come out and they've gone, holy shit, we've actually got a say in these books now that level is curved because there's people figuring it out.
They go and they actually do their job and they build bridges that stay up because they've learned about the curved level. It's what allows them to do their job properly.
Everything is done in physicality with plumb bobs and water levels that establish vertical and horizontal. These positions have extremely defined attributes. You cannot go changing them because then you change the shape of the foundation you're building on and you end up with a wonky building.
Nobody's changing the horizontal.
You say horizontals intersect.
No, I didn't say that. I didn't
If
say
you
that.
had a
On a ball, that's necessarily
horizontal
what they have to do, Parmesan. I don't care whether you yourself actually claim it right now. It's in your model.
It's not in the model. Horizontal is horizontal, but level is not horizontal. It's not level. Level is not.
If you pour water on an arch, it's going to flow to the sides and not in the middle, okay? That is not level. That's not even with the water, right? So you're define reality to fit your beliefs. If you're going to say that water follows your shape, which is this curve, then we put water on that shape and it doesn't follow it, right? It leaves a horizontal with that hump sticking over it. That's what water would do. And you're just going to deny this to go to your beliefs.
Water doesn't care about the shape. It cares about the forces that are acting upon it.
No, that's wrong. Water cares more about the shape than your magical forces.
Yep.
So water moves simply because of the shape that it's on. Is that what you're claiming?
No, water is contained by the shape. Yep.
And when it doesn't have a container, it spreads out flat on the floor, demonstratably. Okay, it doesn't start curving around the object.
Why?
You're denying reality.
Why does it move?
Because you're in a religion.
Why does
Don't
it spread
ask why.
out?
Don't ask why. Show us it sticking to the ball.
No,
yeah, it doesn't matter why it does it. It's doing it, so it would do it on the Earth.
He introduces a force. He says, well, why? Then force, then magic, then then rock with water sticking to the outside of it when he's never made that happen. He made that happen.
Yeah, show me a rock floating in a vacuum here on Earth. See that big vacuum chamber thingy that NASA's got? I want to see somebody drop a rock in that or put a rock in there somehow and show me it floating in the middle of that vacuum like all the other rocks they say are in there.
In a vacuum as well. But I've also posted...
Well, you can have gravity. Put your gravity in there then. I'll let you. You can even have your gravity going in there.
I've posted a picture in general.
Then could you show it to me?
I've posted a picture in general that shows water adhering to the outside of an object. Gravity acts on everything on the surface of the Earth. So whether you're in a vacuum or not.
So use your gravity. Use your gravity to show me that rock floating in that vacuum at NASA, please.
Gravity makes things fall down to the Earth, not float.
Define gravity.
How the fuck's the moon floating?
It's orbiting.
Okay, show me a rock orbiting in that vacuum chamber NASA's got using your gravity, please.
Well, if it's in a vacuum chamber, how could it orbit the whole Earth?
Exactly.
Exactly. That's what space is. Oh my God!
But if you want to see something,
do you realise what you just said?
But if
damage control.
If you want to see something orbiting, you could look
ISS.
up and see the ISS. Yeah.
There you go. But isn't an orbit an entire revolution around the Earth, not just over your head?
That's what a revolution is.
Can you even admit
you don't see the whole orbit, right? You got to assume the other 99% of it. You only see it go over your head.
Yep, you only see it go straight line across over your head.
But you are
you're ignoring my point, Thomason, that's what's happening to the moon. The moon is supposed to be a rock that's just, flying around another rock in a vacuum by gravity. So please, if you are going to tell me that the ball is scientific, then can you please show me one rock orbiting around another rock inside a vacuum using your gravity, please?
The moon orbiting around the Earth.
That's circular logic. You can't use the moon.
Venus orbiting around the sun.
You can't use
the moon's an orbiting rock to prove the moon is an orbiting rock. That's circular logic. You're starting
Venus
with what you're trying
orbiting
to do.
around the sun.
Don't be like this, Parmesan. You can't use things to be scientific. It has to be something you do yourself, an experiment where the experimenter manipulates dependent variable? Independent. Which one do you vary? Independent.
Paige, it doesn't have to be me doing it myself.
Yes, it does.
Did you do everything yourself?
To be scientific, you're claiming your claim on your side is that the ball is scientifically proven. So
and then we ask you for that proof, and you say science doesn't prove things.
Yeah.
Ridiculous.
I just want to see something you guys claim happens in the sky and shit. Please, just one demonstration of something, anything.
Paige, the demo you're requesting requires an absolute volume of mass and an absolute amount of momentum. That can't be recreated.
Where are you going to get that from?
You can scale it down however far you like. If that guy with his shed and he falls in his shed can get... You can
so you say something the size of the moon.
So then your gravity would work even more if you scaled it down.
Exactly. Otherwise, it's not falsifiable. You have to have falsifiable. Otherwise, it's just a belief system. Is it falsifiable?
How big is the moon?
It's not fair of you to tell us we must believe this and we must teach our children this when
exactly.
It's not fair, Gently. Can't you see that?
No, I mean it's just basic physics.
Oh, fuck me.
You don't know anything about basic physics. I'll tell you that much.
I don't. Okay. Says the man who thinks
when we've got water levels and we've got vertical and horizontal defined, and you can't demonstrate any of the things you claim on the Earth in reality to us, why can't you see it's not fair for you then to say we must believe this?
And it's even worse. Oh, go ahead.
Because why?
Because your level and horizontal arguments are irrelevant to the shape of the surface that they're on. They work for any shape surface, even flat.
Exactly.
We could live on a dodecahedron. And
yes,
your
exactly,
level...
Gently. So how dare you choose it's your shape and force us to believe it?
Right, but so your argument is then worthless to say what the shape is
so is yours,
or isn't.
What level and horizontal are for your model. And you've got nothing else. You can't show us anything orbiting anything down here. You can't show us...
Page. I can drop something and show you it fall.
But I can say gravity. I can say, yes, gravity's all... it just pulls straight down instead of to the centre of a ball. Imagine a rectangle underneath you and gravity's pulling just straight down. I can say that.
Yeah,
if level and horizontal don't matter to the shape of what's under you, I'm the rectangle. Okay, I'm going on mute now.
Can I get in here for a second?
Yes, go for it.
Okay. You drop something and it falls, right?
Yeah.
Who picked it up?
What do you mean who picked it up? Whoever picked it up. What difference does that make?
Right? It makes a big difference because before you picked it up, what was it doing? Before you picked it up, what was it doing?
It was sitting on the ground, I guess.
Right.
I don't know.
So you picked it up, right? And put energy into picking it up. It took energy from you to pick it up.
Yeah, I gave it some gravitational
You put that potential energy into whatever you picked up. So when you dropped it, the energy that you put into it to pick it up was released.
And why did it go in the opposite way to the force that was applied to it then? See, I'm applying a force from underneath, lifting it up, then I let go. No, there's no exactly.
You picked it up, so it fell down. You picked it up, so it fell down.
Now listen to the argument that you're presenting. I put force to the bottom of an object to lift it up. I let go of it, the force that
what if you grabbed it from the top?
Going up. Yeah.
What if you grabbed it from above? Like a claw?
What, like a sucker?
It doesn't matter how you pick it up. You picked it up. It doesn't matter how you pick it up. If you pick it up,
it matters
it will
when
go
you
down.
apply the force. It's the vector of the force that I'm using. If I vector something upwards, then the force I've applied is going upwards. When I let go of it, why does it not continue going upwards? It goes the opposite way and goes downwards.
Because it's being pulled down by gravity.
Yes.
No, because the difference in its density and the density of the medium it's in has become, different, so depending on the difference between the two objects will give you your vector and your magnitude, whether something's lighter or heavier.
You remember Newton's apple? If I took that apple
that's a good one
and
too.
I pulled it 50 feet underwater and let go of that apple.
Yep.
Does it stay underwater?
No.
Good example.
Buoyancy acts upon it.
So it's relative density disequilibrium made it go up. Because the medium's more heavy, more dense.
That's just not true, because what we've demonstrated
we can demonstrate it by adding salt to water. You can shift. You can make a force that will move an object. So we can actually scientifically demonstrate this.
Yes. Yeah, I agree. There is a buoyancy force. You're right, but it's not only buoyancy.
So our explanation works just as well for flat Earth. We don't need this orbiting stuff with gravity. So for us, we've got our entire explanation for a flat Earth with our relative density disequilibrium argument. Right-the-hands rope theory would even work for us perfectly.
So if you say it's only density, that doesn't work. It doesn't match observations. And I'll give you an example.
No. Relative density disequilibrium. That's the important part. The difference between the two things will give you vector and magnitude.
Okay, so that does not match observations in reality. And let me
yes, it does. We can demonstrate it with a scientific experiment. Anthony, Sleeping Warrior, did it, putting salt into a glass, moving an egg, manifesting a force that moved the egg.
Right. Let me ask you this then: if we go,
can you rebut my actual argument?
Yeah, 1 second.
Okay, cool.
So, if we go
we're going off on something else, are we?
No, it's the same thing.
Go to the side.
We go to the side of a mountain, and we hang from the side of a mountain. Let's say it's a cliff, and we put a metal. We hang not a metal, just a piece of rock on a string from the side of the cliff.
Right.
It's in the same medium, same equilibrium. What would you expect it to do? Just hang there normally?
Is the cliff like sticking out from the rock, so the rock's like hanging on the string out in midair, or is it just hanging? Well, the rock will just hang there.
We'll just hang there.
Okay. Well, hang there until you cut the string.
Okay.
Hang on, let him. I don't mind if I walk into a trap. I walk into. Yeah.
Do you think the rock will move very slightly towards the mountain?
No.
Okay. Well, the fact is, we have done experiments like that, and the weight moved slightly because of the gravitational.
And did you rule out all other factors, like any kind of magnetic or electrostatic forces? Wind? Sorry?
It was done multiple times, so.
No, that's not what I asked.
Showed consistent.
I guarantee it.
Showed consistent results.
That's not what I asked.
On the different conditions.
Under different conditions. So did they have one where they ruled out, did they have it in a Faraday cage and make sure?
The weight was not made of any ferrous material.
Everything has electromagnetism.
Yeah, everything. Like electromagnetism and magnetism forces on the Earth are apparent in everything. Like things grow because of this force. So you can't just say it wouldn't affect it.
Insulators are fairly good at.
Well, did they put them on?
The material was not.
Don't go back. Don't go back. We just went through that. Keep walking forward,
anyway,
please.
I've
so
told
they
you what it
didn't
is.
isolate it.
That's
there
the experiment.
Could have been other things affecting it.
They did.
Sounds like a thought experiment.
So it just sounds to me like it's a test that is very flawed.
Right, so going back to relative density. So with that brick or that rock that you've got hanging over the cliff, so it has a density, right? Now, if you start chipping away at that rock, the density doesn't change, but the volume does. Yeah?
Yeah.
Now, you have a different volume of mass. So why is the acceleration the same if you cut the string? If you didn't chip the bits of rock away, and you cut the string, it will fall at 9.8 meters per second. And if you chip all the bits of rock away, it falls at 9.8
drop at 9.8 meters per second if it's not in a vacuum?
Yeah.
Because what if it was a feather?
For the first one, all you can do is demonstrate that inside a vacuum and tell me that that's what would happen in reality. So it's not analogous.
Shit doesn't drop at 9.8 meters per second.
Because otherwise it doesn't actually
in
fall.
air. Don't be stupid.
And depending on
there's very little air resistance. So let's say
it doesn't matter. Very little is different to none.
It's going to have a different.
Well, let's say it's negligible for this example.
Don't you guys notice that we have a rebuttal for every single one of your arguments? And you still think we don't have the right to think differently?
If it is just density, okay,
no, it's not just density. It's relative density disequilibrium. And now, if you want to, you can add some kind of electrostatic force if you want to give a definite up or down. That's fine with me. That works on a flat Earth. No problem.
Electrostatic force is only over a very, very short distance.
It doesn't matter if you want to. I said even if you guys were freaking out and you needed a definite up and down, you can have one. I don't care. That's not my point. Gravity can work on FE if you put a rectangle underneath us and say it goes straight down.
So isn't there?
We can still keep all the things.
Gravity follows the inverse square law. You see, you can't have gravity.
Hello.
Sorry. Oh, who's that?
Hello.
Sorry, did the middle of my sentence interrupt the start of yours?
Well, you guys can finish off. There's still hours left. No one needs to interrupt anything.
Jimbo, you might need to join and drop and rejoin.
Yeah, you're cutting out bad, Jimbo, and we only got like 2 words and could hardly hear you.
Right, so back to the statement.
Sorry, gently.
Oh, yeah, we got you, Jimbo.
That's better.
Right. Gravity follows the inverse square law, right? So if you go up a mountain, you can measure the gravity at the top of a mountain versus gravity at sea level.
You still haven't defined it, so no, you can't claim that.
So you will find that it follows the inverse square law.
How do you know that gravity follows the inverse square law? How? How do you know that?
Because if you measure the gravity at the top of a mountain versus the gravity at sea
when
level...
did you measure gravity?
Oh my God, do you think gravity hasn't been measured at the top of a mountain?
If you can measure gravity, how come you can't use it to do something with it?
You do something with it.
How come you can't show me the rocks orbiting in a vacuum with using gravity? If gravity can be measured and actually... put gravity into that rock. Put gravity into that rock and get the other rock to orbit around it. Well, you can measure this gravity gently, so it must be real. You must be able to manipulate it. I can manipulate a magnet.
Christ, the rock has got gravity. But, like I said before, mass...
Put it in a vacuum and show me it orbiting something.
I can't, because it's in a much greater gravitational field. So how
you can put as much gravity as you want in it to demonstrate it. Put so much gravity in it, it overcomes Earth's gravity.
You can't put gravity into something.
Exactly.
So then why are you asking for it? You're asking for something that you know is impossible.
Because I want you guys to demonstrate something in reality instead of telling me I always need to imagine these things.
Oh, you constructed an unfalsifiable narrative. You can't ask for the impossible.
Just like you.
No, I'm not asking for the impossible.
Yes, gently.
Yes, to believe in a theory. Gravity. Never proven. Still a theory. And you talk of it like it's a jack of all trades. Able to serve you in any way, shape, or form.
What the fuck?
So, anyway, because gravity follows the inverse square law...
Is that what astronauts have to do when they poo?
And
yeah, that was back in the old days.
Inverse square law has a spherical geometry. By nature, gravity acts spherically. So you couldn't just have it on a flat plane.
I bet you any money you could make up a mathematical equation that made the inverse square law follow grid pattern.
What does it mean?
You're arguing with the mouth of insanity here, so I don't know what to suggest.
Sorry, Jimbo?
You're arguing with the voice of insanity here. How do you reason with that? It's just insane.
You don't.
Every word coming out of his mouth is insanity.
Is it?
Pretty much.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, so I'm not the one who thinks that one density and another density magically interact, create a force and a vector. That is insanity.
Apples float in
even though
water,
we can
don't
show
they?
it in an experiment.
A rock sinks in water,
Wow,
doesn't
gently.
it?
Yes.
I mean, yeah. So what's
So
your
those are
problem?
vectors. So how does just two densities interact to cause a vector? How? What's the mechanical aspect?
The vector is a concept. It's not a really physical thing.
A vector
So
is a concept.
It's the difference in density that causes the vector.
How does gravity interact with a rock to cause the vector?
Yeah.
The rock,
Why
like
wouldn't
any
gravity
object,
interact?
is a
No,
dead weight.
that's not the question.
No, obviously.
You're asking us
could-
that.
Okay, so gravity provides the acceleration. Gravity is the vector.
No. How? How does it?
Well, then the density disequilibrium is the vector.
Yeah, you said how mechanically does density do it? How mechanically does gravity pull a rock down? How is it doing that mechanically?
Right, okay. So it's inertial momentum within the curvature of space-time. So the top of the object is travelling through time faster than the bottom of the object.
Oh, that
then
so
causes
simple
a
an
geodesic.
explanation. I love it. Space-time curving, bending, folding is causing the rock to fall and creates the gravity.
You asked.
Sounds like a bunch of
Bending,
bullshit.
folding, space-time. When you drop a rock,
Just by
and
saying
watch
that
it
doesn't
fall.
make it.
Oh my God!
Just because
Talk
you
about
overtalk
delusional.
it doesn't make
Like I
the
say, the
explanation
voice of
wrong.
insanity.
Well, at least he gave us the current
Delusion.
science,
Yeah,
not
at least he's
the
honest about his
105-year
delusion.
out-of-date science.
Actually,
They are the same thing, Paige.
yeah.
No, one's three and one's 4. They're totally not the same thing at all.
Yeah, just a quick correction though, Paige. The
Time is
current
a
science
concept.
is
How do you bend a
we don't
concept?
actually. Jesus,
My
Christ, I'm
brain is
talking about
itchy.
it.
How do I scratch my brain?
So,
How do you carry
What did you
time?
say?
Let me and Paige talk.
You know, how do you have bendy space time and
Stick your finger in your ear.
very space and
Really,
time
really hard.
with time a concept? Yeah. How do I scratch my brain? I think about
concept.
scratching my
What are
gray
you talking
matter.
about?
Time and
physical.
space are concepts.
No, they're physical. We interact with them.
Time is not physical,
Time is
and neither
physical.
space. Space
Oh my!
is a
I
privation.
just learned something tonight.
Time is
So
physical.
time can be stretched and shrunk, eh? A second isn't always a second. A minute's not a minute, right? There you go.
You can't bend, warp, or dilate space or time.
Time is only
They're
a
concepts.
concept. How are you going to bend
Of course
it?
you can.
You can
Can
bend
you
a
bend
concept.
math?
Can I scratch my
Show me
brain
some
because I feel
circular
an itch?
happiness, please, gently.
Can I scratch my brain if I feel an itch on it by thinking?
Show me some
carry on and do
circular
that.
happiness or bend freedom, please.
Is that a current?
They're abstract, so Paige.
Stretching
Like time.
So can I have a bowl of time?
Time. Time is not
Material?
abstract.
Oh, gently.
So how do you put time in a box and then vary it?
Oh, my goodness.
No, hang on.
Wow.
Jimbo, I never claimed time was tangible. I claimed it was physical.
It's not physical. It's not physical either.
Okay, so we
You can only-
experience time. You experience time.
No.
Because, let me give you an example, Paige, without talking over me. Right?
Okay.
Now, okay, listen to the words. Now and now were separated. I didn't experience a simultaneity of time. I experienced a gap between those two events. That is a temporal zone. That is time. You just
That's an
experienced
interval.
it, and
A
so did I. It
concept.
is
It's called an interval.
Oh.
Interval.
The physical things are the things you're doing, not the spaces in between.
Yeah, Paige, you're getting older.
Yeah, but I'm
You're
not experiencing
time.
time.
You
can't. No.
He's not bending it or folding it or twisting it or collecting it in a jar.
That's tangible. That's a different word.
No, you're saying it's tangible because
and tangible are two different things.
Physical is also tangible.
Yeah, you're saying it's coming into play when you drop a rock and gravity.
Okay, give me another example other than time of something that's
okay. So in your bedroom,
physical but not.
So in your bedroom, because I've been looking through your window, in your bedroom you've got a chest of drawers. Yeah, you can move that chest of drawers out of your bedroom, but you can put it back in there because the space exists still. It didn't go anywhere. Okay, so the space is physical because you can put something there and remove it from it. If the space wasn't physical, there would be no space to put the chest of drawers in that position. Space is physical. Time is physical. Anything you interact with is physical.
And space, as in the distance between objects, absolutely is real. But the space they're talking about is not.
They're the same thing, literally and definitively the same. Space is space.
Both concepts?
No, neither concept's physical.
Give me another example of something that's physical but tangible.
But not tangible.
Yeah, like time and space-time. Can you give me anything else to equivocate it to?
Yeah, okay, so momentum.
Well, not equivocate, analogize it with.
Constant momentum. That would be a physical thing.
Momentum.
But it wouldn't be tangible.
See, that's oh, no, that's not a you're using words like motion and saying that's physical, but the physical thing is the actual act of doing it, not the word. I don't know if I'm explaining myself properly.
Mixing up tangible with physical. I think when you say physical, it sounds like
what do you mean when you say
things.
Yes, what do you mean when you say physical? What do you mean? Because when I say physical, I mean that I can use one of my senses to interact with it.
Okay, so my definition of physical is that I interact it. I experience the physical. All I need to do is experience it, and it was physical.
Okay, I think I get you.
So love is physical.
So tangible is when you're actually holding something. Tangible can't be. Oh, I suppose you can look at a tangible thing, can't you? You can taste a tangible thing.
Physical are the same thing. Yeah, physical and tangible. You're
I think of them. Yeah. Sorry, go for it.
That he says anything he experiences is physical. Yeah. He experiences love. Love is now physical.
Love is right.
Yes, love is a chemical reaction.
I don't see them that way. I see love.
Yeah, I experience the chemical reaction of love. I experience all the emotions are chemical reactions.
Whoa. Stop right there. So you didn't experience love. You experienced a physical chemical.
Yes.
The tangible chemical. Oh, see how that works?
That's my point. Thank you, Chris.
It was the tangible chemical that you experienced, and then you described that tangible chemical as love. So love is not real. Love is not physical. Love is not tangible. The chemical reaction of the physical chemicals is what's real and physical.
Yes, and that has been given a noun.
You always get exactly where I'm coming from.
But it's not love, it's the chemicals.
That's the word we've made up for those chemical reactions.
Exactly. So you experience the chemical reaction. I'm not doubting that you experience the chemical reaction, and you can experience the tangible too. But
without the physical chemical, Without those physical chemical reactions, would you experience what you call love?
No.
Okay, so you're saying that experiences.
Hey, who the fuck
Lion.
booted me? Who's in here that's a mod, please? Who's got mod status in here at the moment?
Not guilty.
Not me.
Okay,
Maybe
I'll
you're
just look
dropped.
through.
I don't know. Maybe it was just a glitch there.
No. I had to rejoin call. That only happens when you hang up.
You don't have to be. You don't have to be a mod.
Oh,
Really?
really?
Really? That's bad.
No, you can't boot anybody not being a mod.
No, yeah, really.
Yeah, I don't think anyone booted your page per se.
Yeah, somebody booted me. I know they did.
I don't know who it could be. I think there's really only Randy and.
It's all right. Don't worry about it. It's fine.
No.
Could be a hacker.
Do what Randy hasn't said. No. Anyone can do it, Jimbo. Anyone can do it. Randy hasn't set up his server properly at this stage.
You got to make somebody. You got to give them privileges.
Yeah, I've got a little thing that says mod on my thing.
Chris. Everyone's got them.
No, I don't think anybody has it. I've been a mod before. You're able to server mute. You're able to
yeah, I can do all that.
When you people's names.
Yep.
The other day we had the same.
That's just a local mute.
We went through it, and anyone could kick people and mute people from the server. So it may have been changed, but the other day there was that glitch in the system.
Well, why doesn't somebody who's not me check for us? Because I'm a mod. I can't tell you whether somebody who's not a mod can do it. Somebody try and kick me again. See if
I just muted Jimbo from my end, and I'm not a mod. I don't think. Can anybody hear Jimbo?
That's a local mute. That only
talk, Jimbo.
So you guys can hear him.
Talk for us,
He's
Jimbo.
not talking, but
Jimbo, say something.
But the icon's not next to him.
Hello.
Yeah, I can still hear him.
Yeah, we.
Okay.
So you can mute him on, but I could mute him and mute him for everybody.
It's not
because I've got the little mod thing.
I changed the settings the other night, so you shouldn't be able to kick anybody.
I didn't know what the settings were before. No, I didn't even know I was a mod, to be honest.
It was wide open. Can you guys still kick people?
No, but I just
who mods?
So I've still got the power, Brandon. You haven't fixed it all.
You've still got the power to what?
Am I muted?
No, she's not muted.
No, you're okay, Paige.
No, see? But I think I can. Hang on, I'll try and mute somebody.
Try and mute me.
Who's that? Sorry?
Try and mute me. Global virus.
Ah, right there. Global virus. Mute. I can manage user.
Yeah, Paige, you should be able to server mute still, right?
Server mute.
Yeah, server mute.
Oops, looks like that didn't work.
Yeah.
Server Devon, oops, looks like that didn't work. Hang on, kick. Kick. Okay, I think that's all I can do. I kicked him, so yeah, it let me kick him, but I couldn't server mute. So somebody could have kicked me, but they couldn't have muted me or deafened me, but they can still kick.
No, I don't think so. I think you have elevated privileges, Paige.
A mod, yeah, I said a mod. Yeah, I've got mod. So it would have to be a mod to who kicked me just before. Right. If I got kicked.
Talking. Can anyone hear Paige?
Yes, I can hear Paige.
Okay, so it's just muting on my end.
Yeah, it's just muting on your end. It's no big deal. I'm just get sick of shit like this happening.
There was that glitch in the system the other day,
though. Captain Bullshit was muting or kicking people. He thought it was funny, and then he cried over at Gems and said I was a big meanie. I should learn how to take a joke.
I think you should go on Mr. Sensible's drunk.
You know, that's not a bad idea. I'll have to think about that. To let out some rage, is that what you're saying?
Or maybe like start sober and then just work your way into a good one. And then just
Hey, Paige.
Every time he says you don't understand, you just take a drink.
That's a great idea. I think I might do that. No, I should probably represent pretty well. Yeah, I'll save my drunken rages for Gems.
But it's sensible though. He won't see it.
Before I go, I would suggest just on that point on gravity, we have something called gravimeters that are used to work out where there is dense areas under the surface of the Earth, which could be valuable minerals, to save us time and money on digging holes everywhere to find out where the minerals are. Gravimeters, the only way they would work is if gravity is the only way they work is through gravity. So
how do they calibrate them? How do they calibrate them? How do you?
They put a weight on a spring, and then they measure how much it stretches in different locations.
Is gravity.
Yes. So anyway, that is one thing
how
to.
They calibrate that weight. What do they?
They don't need to calibrate the weight.
So they just pull a weight out of their ass and they put it on a spring and they go, that represents gravity. So how do they calibrate it against the real gravity?
They just measure the length of the spring.
That's all they measure. The length. So the length of a spring and a weight, that's gravity.
When they move that whole device to a different location, the spring sometimes extends, which shows that there is a denser mass under it, increasing the gravity.
They
but anyway,
it against the real gravity.
I mean, if you're really interested, feel free to have a look at it. I do need to get going. It's getting very late here.
It against the real gravity. That's what I'm interested in.
Right. What they did is, it's irrelevant the mass that you hang from the spring, because force is mass times acceleration. So the acceleration is the gravitational force. So it doesn't matter what your mass is; it's irrelevant.
Can you have a force without physical contact?
Yes.
Yes, of course.
So you can move an object without physical contact.
Yes.
So, magic. What would be the in that system? What would be the mechanism of motion? How did you induce motion without physical contact? What mechanism?
Well, you could argue. Sorry. I was going to argue electromotive force. I don't know what you were going to argue.
I was going to say I can blow on something.
Yeah, that'll work.
Wouldn't that be the physical air touching the physical object?
Yeah, but I'm not touching it.
Okay. Yeah.
Electromagnets is better.
Okay. So how does electric magnetism move something without touching it?
The electromotive.
What's the mechanical operation? How does it do that? Don't just say force. You're not giving me a mechanical operation. What does it do to move the object if it's not physically touching it?
Effectively, because you're passing a current through a magnetic field, or a magnetic a magnet through an electric current, you get all the electrons line up in a particular direction. So if you've got a curl, and you force a load of electrons down it at massive velocities, well, actually the speed of light, what you get is a back force from that. So if you get a piece of aluminium inside an electromotive force, so you pass a current through an aluminium and you put a magnet by a strip of aluminium, you'll actually see the aluminium just spin around the magnet all by itself.
Wait, hold on. Are the electrons, you're saying the electrons are touching the metal, or nothing is touching the aluminum?
No, nothing's touching it.
Okay, so it just moved with it just magically started moving.
Well, no, it depends on what you know about Maxwell equations. You've got electric fields and magnetic fields, and they interact.
I don't want to know about equations. I want to know about the mechanism, because an equation is not a physical mechanism. So how? Don't give me a formula, because it's not a mechanism. How did the magnet affect the aluminum without touching it physically, if it's not magic?
I can't go into quantum mechanics with you. My knowledge stops at the atomic level.
Okay, so you have no idea. You can say you have no idea.
I can say I have no idea, but I have a better idea than you do.
Would that be true, though?
Because you're claiming it to be magic, and I'm claiming it to be the electromotive force.
I'm not claiming. Look, I'm asking you, can you move something without touching it? You're saying yes.
And we're saying
I'm
yes,
asking you,
and I'm giving you a demonstration of it.
And then when I said, how does that happen? You go, well, I don't really know. I don't understand quantum.
You don't need to know how something happens to know that it happens.
Yes.
Whoa, hold on. So how do you know a magnet's not touching metal?
Right. How do you know your phone works?
No,
do you know how your phone works?
Don't deflect. I'm just asking. I'm just saying. You said I can't say this. Well, aren't you doing exactly? You're saying it's not touching. Well, how do you know that?
Because you can see it's not touching. There's a gap between the two.
Well, you can't see air. You can't see when air moves a sailboat, but the air is moving the sailboat. So could it be something you can't see that is touching the metal?
Okay, yes.
Just no.
Because magnets work in a vacuum.
No.
And gravity works in a vacuum.
I was going to say,
okay, so what does that mean? So how, again, you don't have a mechanism. You're stuck with I don't know.
No, we've just taken out the air. So
no, you haven't.
Claim,
no, so are you saying that there's nothing?
Hypothesis.
Wait, hold on. No, I never said it was
I'm
the
answering
air.
I'm answering your
no, you're
thing
not.
about could it be?
Not.
You said could it be the air touching it? And I've just
no, that's not what I said. No, I didn't. That's no. I said could it be something? No, listen. No, because you weren't listening. I said could a magnet be something like air in which you can't see it, but it's moving the sailboat. Like in the same way you can't see air and it moves a sailboat, could a magnet have its own mechanism that you can't see that is like air but is not air? Do you understand now?
No, it can't be like air because air is made up of particles, magnetic fields.
Okay, but you're missing the point. You're missing the point. You see how you can't see air? The point is, if you can't see air, maybe you just can't see the mechanism of a magnet.
But we can.
So what's your point there?
That's my point. Maybe you just can't see. Is it possible that there's a mechanism to a magnet, but you just can't see it?
There is.
That doesn't mean it doesn't exist.
Yeah, there are force carrying in particle physics, right? There are force carrying particles, subatomic particles that move between all these things that exchange forces between them. That's how magnetism works. I can't get into that with you because I don't have
that's a physical
full
thing.
Understanding. But there is
a physical object. A particle is a physical object.
No, it has no mass.
Some particles are not.
Hang on. But aren't we made out of particles?
Okay, so what?
We're made out of particles with mass.
What was you said this force? What is carrying the quote unquote force? Nothing.
Subatomic particles, and again, there's no point in keep asking me about this because I've already told you I don't know enough.
Okay, but you do know that it's a very small physical object.
It's not because you can have virtual particles that only exist
so then it's nothing.
Very small periods of time. Well,
okay, wait. So something can exist and then not exist.
Yes, something can exist and not.
Well, then they'll be physical for the short amount of time they exist.
Yeah, but the amount. Some of these things exist for a Planck time, so it's an immeasurable amount.
That's enough time to affect something. Isn't that enough time to affect something?
No, not individually. You would need billions happening simultaneously.
Okay, yeah, but still, let's say you had trillions of things that spontaneously came into existence. Couldn't they, in that instance, affect something?
Yes, of course.
Okay, so we're back to there must be some kind of physical interaction, even if they are spontaneously happening, because then you don't. That's how you have a mechanism. Because without that physical contact or physical interaction, you don't have any way to transfer the information to the object, right? So if the object doesn't get any information transferred to it, it has no idea where it's going or what it's going to do. So you can't say that something is moving when it's getting no information to dictate its movements. Does that make any sense to you, or is that too much? Or
that is perfect logic. Yes, of course. However, gravity is not a force.
So great. Okay, hold on. No. We're just forget the word force. So there must be physical contact to impart the new information, which will dictate the direction of motion. Do you agree?
When you're referring to a force, yes.
Okay, but force is just a word. I'm saying that we have to get past just the words. We're trying to get to the mechanical understanding. You agree that when the rock moves towards Earth, there must be some physical contact to impart that directional information.
No, because that is not a force.
Okay, hang on. Okay. So if there's no connection between the Earth and the rock, how does the rock gain the information to dictate its downward motion?
Because it's following the geodesic. It's keeping its inertial momentum through space,
but it was going
geodesic.
Up. Somebody lifted it up. So when they let go of it, where did the new information to tell the rock to stop going up and then come back down? How did that information reach the rock with no physical contact from the Earth?
It never lost its inertia. All mass is inertial mass.
That's a word, bro. You're not giving me a mechanism for how the rock knows that I don't go up anymore and now I go down.
Okay,
right?
So
like if there's no connection,
inertia is an intrinsic
age-old argument, isn't it?
So inertia is an intrinsic property of mass. No one can identify
what does
exactly.
That mean?
What does that mean? We do not know. It is just it is what it is.
What is inertia? You're just saying it is what it is. What is it?
How do you mean? What is it? It's inertia.
And how bloody convenient. Like it's just an inherent property. I don't need to demonstrate it. I don't need to prove it's true. It's just an inherent part. We just know it is. Like, wow.
Because you can observe it's there.
What do you observe? No, bro, you observe the rock fall. Okay. Now I'm saying there must be a way in which the rock falls. It can't just fall. There's got to be something there. Either something's pulling it, something's
momentum.
It. What is that? Those are just words. Can you explain inertial momentum? That's what do you mean by that?
So all mass is inertial mass. Sorry, carry on.
Is that a push or a pull?
All mass has pixies holding it up. It's just an inherent part of matter that pixies hold it up.
That's the same thing. That's exactly the same thing.
Can you see where we're coming from, gently?
No, Paige.
What is inertia? You got to explain what inertial mass is.
Really?
Man. Like if I said
the rock that has been lifted up, as soon as is moving, is attempting to move forward in space-time. Okay, follow its straight path in space-time. While it's being held, you're preventing it from changing its spatial coordinates. Okay, as soon as you let go,
give us a demonstration of space-time bending, please.
It's no longer being held back, so it now starts changing its spatial coordinates to move forward, straight ahead, along the curvature of space-time.
Okay, so my problem with that is when I lift the rock, okay? Now, you would say, how did the rock get in the air? I would say, my hand grabbed it and held it. That's the mechanical process. Now, when I let go, I ask you how. Now, you're saying you're saying the Earth pulls it down. Now, I can explain mechanically how I lift it up.
Strawman. He never said that. That's strawman.
Well, bro, if the Earth isn't pulling it down, how does the rock fall to the Earth?
Because the rock has its own inertia, and it's moving through space-time.
What does that mean? What does own inertia moving through space-time mean?
Okay, so
is that a mechanical process?
There is no such thing. Oh god, because I'd have to go in and break down fucking kinetics for you and all sorts and kinematics for you, and it just seems ridiculous to have to do that, right? But
it sounds ridiculous. That's one of the words you got right. I'll agree with that. It is ridiculous.
Yeah, but you can't honestly ask me to go through sort of A-level physics with you to get to any kind of understanding. I mean, it's not a 5-minute topic.
If it's so fucking complicated, you can't explain it, bro, right? When I lift a rock, I say I grabbed it with my hand, I lifted it, right? Very simple. It didn't even take me 10 seconds. Didn't even take 5. Now, you're saying to explain why it goes to the ground, you need 4 years, 5 days a week.
Yes.
Pretty much.
Well, and what maybe bullshit takes a long time to fucking spew.
Yeah,
right?
but that's to get a full understanding versus your caveman understanding of I grabbed it. I mean, I'd like to see the equation of
It doesn't
I
sound like
grabbed
you
it.
understand it.
I'd like to see you build a rocket, build an aeroplane with the logic of I grabbed it. No, you need these complex calculations.
I don't, bro. I can build an airplane with a fucking propeller and a motor, right?
Can
I don't
you
need to
even
know
build a
why.
propeller with-
I don't need. I don't need to know about gravity to stick a propeller on a crankshaft. What are you talking about, man?
Yes, you do. You need to know your lift, your drag, your thrust coefficients to get any kind of lift.
Okay, let me tell you something. I had a model airplane, right? This was when I didn't believe that the Earth was a ball. So I didn't believe in gravity. And guess what that model airplane did no matter what? It flew, right? You give a model airplane to somebody that doesn't believe in gravity, it does. Guess what? It does the exact same thing.
Right.
Well,
you
because your
didn't
beliefs
just
are
build
irrelevant.
that aeroplane, did you?
Well, no, that airplane wasn't built on a system of beliefs. It was built with physical materials that have physics. Physics is physical interaction.
It was on a
agree with me on
physical
that?
model.
Okay, well, so physics is a physical model.
Not a belief.
Is space-time physical?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay, so you can touch space-time.
That's tangible.
And see it's physical.
No, it's not tangible.
No. Okay, wait, hold on. Physics, right? When you talk about physics, physics is the physical interactions of matter. Are we okay with that?
Ooh.
Is that nobody likes that? No, physics, physical interactions of matter. Is that too simple?
Well, there doesn't have to be a physical interaction for it to have physical characteristics.
Well, then it's not physics. Because physics, by definition, by like all logical testimonies, only concerns itself with the physical interactions. Because if it's talking about things that are
you guys do this quite often, and I've heard
we
others,
guys. Well, I'm one person.
I've heard other flat earthers do the same. You try to constrain.
I'm not a flat earther.
You're not a flat earther. Okay, but anyway,
no, there's mountains and valleys.
I've heard flat earthers say that. You try to constrain what science is going to be, just like you try to constrain what the scientific method is, and you try to define it in a narrower scope so that you can discard things that you don't want to talk about, like astrophysics, for example.
Maybe you're being vague in general so that you can include things that are non-physical, non-tangible, and spiritual beliefs like the planets. Maybe that's what you're doing, right? Maybe.
Yeah.
Because we study everything around us.
Well, okay, but a thing is a physical thing, right?
Not necessarily.
Okay, so you can have something that's not something but nothing. So you can have nothing.
You said physical thing.
There
are fields of study of non-physical things.
A thing.
Philosophy, for example. But when it comes to physics, it is
something. Like a thing is a physical thing, an object.
Yes, but maths isn't a physical thing. It's an abstract thing. It does not mean to say you cannot use physics and the scientific method with mathematics.
Okay, but you're that's great. But what I'm talking about is when we're talking physics, right? And when we're talking something, and you're like, "Oh, I'm going to test something," we're talking about a thing, a physical thing, right?
The definition simply of physics is the branch of science concerned with the nature and properties of matter and energy. That's it.
There you go.
Yeah, and I would say that energy is a property of matter, and you can't have energy without. So you can't have. It's really the study of matter, which is physical things. This is why I'm just making it simple, right? So you're studying you're studying how things interact with other things, physical interactions, right? Because you can't study a non-physical interaction, because then you'd be studying.
You'd be studying ghosts. You can't study the metaphysical. You can only study the actual physical.
Exactly, yeah. So physical must be a thing that can be studied, not an intangible conceptual idea like a ghost, right?
Definitely.
I mean, this is where. Come on, gently. It's okay, man. It's okay to let go of it. You'd be famous. You'd be famous.
Well, what was your point
for letting
here?
go of the ball.
Okay.
You don't understand my point?
Hey guys,
That
hello everybody.
a physical thing, you can't have a non-physical thing.
Right.
Okay, so
what?
Okay, so then gravity is a physical thing or a non-physical thing?
Yes, it's physical.
Okay, so how does it physically touch a rock?
It doesn't, like we've just explained to you over and over again.
Well, but then that's not okay. Okay, so then that's non-physical, right?
No.
No, it is physical.
It's physical.
Do you see where? Do you see how you're? Do you see the touchy ground you're getting into? Bro, look at that. Did you hear that?
What you did,
right there?
You attributed it has to have a mechanical property, although you've already been told it does not have a mechanical property. It is just inertial mass moving through space-time. There is no mechanics to that.
I was making things simpler. I was saying you have to exist.
You're basically trying to say that gravity is outside the scope of physics, which is just a ridiculous argument.
No, you're saying that. I'm just trying to get
No,
you
I'm not saying that. It's what you're saying.
No, I'm just because look, I don't have these beliefs, right? So I'm just reiterating what you're telling me. Okay, so
no, you're not. You're making things up to make it sound like gravity is outside the scope of physics by very
when you say that,
mental
hold on, when you say that gravity is pulling a rock down, but it's non-physically pulling the rock down, and then I highlight how if something is not physical, it can't exist, right? And you agree. And then we take that thing that you just agreed to and apply it to gravity. You then default to, no, I have to change what I just said.
I'll say one more time. It is physically affecting the rock, but it's not touching it. It's affecting the rock, causing it.
Affecting it.
Yes,
Why not
because
physically affecting it?
space-time is a physical thing, and the rock's movement through space-time is what affects its direction, its coordinates in space and time. So that is a physical interaction.
Well, then that's the physical thing that is affecting it that you need to show us.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the crux of it right here. Is this whole space-time thing that you think it's physical? We don't.
That's your mechanism.
Then you accept that gravity is
so please show us your mechanism.
So do you accept that gravity is within the scope of physics?
No, we just said space-time.
If you could show me, if you could show us space-time physically.
You're saying space-time is not within the scope of the study of physics.
Not until it's been demonstrated. That would be like saying a unicorn is in the scope of physics. Well, no, not until you physically interact with a unicorn. So when you physically interact with space-time, then we can bring it into the realm of reality.
You know, in the history
it's like saying I can do the biology on a unicorn.
Okay, so in the history of mankind, the single most tested theory is the theory of relativity. It has more tests to it than any other physics ever, and it's conformed to every single test.
Right.
That's great that you believe that. Now, how does
it could just be a different thing causing it? Like, it's just the explanation that we find a bit fucked up. That's all.
There hasn't been a single explanation. I'll give you an example. Precession of Mercury's orbit. There was no explanation for that at all.
Yeah, about 1,000 assumptions. Yeah, you're right.
But an explanation's a story. Like you can explain that with, God chose one of the lights to move differently. Like that would explain it. It would you would have to believe in God first, right? So your entire explanation hinges on the fact that somebody first believes in the entire solar system, like they would believe in God. So that explanation is only good in the basis of your belief system.
Yeah, we're asking for the physical proof of it.
It is a physical proof.
Yeah, because physical.
Previous calculations, laws demonstrate worked for every other planet in our solar system, but didn't work for Mercury. It was off by a very small amount, but it was off until until Newton's, sorry, not Newton's, Einstein's theory of relativity, and that's when it matched the predicted results, matched the observations.
But hang on, doesn't that math not even work for more than one body?
That's very true. Yep. Go ahead and solve the three-body problem for us right now.
Time, like the math doesn't work out. Like not only did it not work out for Mercury or whatever, you can't even do the math for more than one celestial body, like account for more than one at a time.
And on top of that, it's not a mechanism.
Yes, you can.
Yes, you can.
It's not a
Yeah. Are you
No,
talking about the
that's the
three-body
math where
problem?
it doesn't work if you try to use more than one thing.
No,
Yes,
are
did
you
you just-
referring to the three-body problem?
What's that?
Is that what they call it? I'm not. It's just something that I remember hearing. I'm not 100% on. I'm just asking. Isn't that the math that says you can't do more than one thing at a time?
Yeah, it's the in-body problem is what they call it. But usually people just refer to the three-body problem because no one's ever actually been able to solve the three-body problem except with static equations. Like in actuality, you can't do physics on three-body problem. But yeah, imagine in-body problem where there's 49 different bodies. I mean, they definitely can't solve that. So yeah, it definitely doesn't have that much practical actual application.
It has plenty of practical application. The trouble is, you can only model turbulence to a specific degree. Turbulence, as yet, hasn't been solved. So we know laminar flow perfectly well. So at any two bodies, that would be laminar flow, and we can model that perfectly. But when you get to a turbulent environment like the end problem, then you can't model that yet. But that is only because our mathematics isn't strong enough to do that. To model something like that, it would take all the computers on Earth just to model something like that for an hour. So it doesn't work. We haven't got strong enough mathematical foundation to do that. Doesn't mean it's impossible. We just can't do it yet.
Yeah, and I definitely understand what you're saying there, and I think this is just equating one thing to another problem. Because just because that's the way that specific thing is, that doesn't mean that automatically is the way the whole issue with the three-body problem is. I mean, it could be that it's not solvable. You don't know that. I mean, just because for something to not be able to be solved yet because we don't have powerful enough computers doesn't mean it must be that way for the other thing. It could be that that other thing just doesn't work at all. It's just completely way off, and that's why it doesn't work. You understand?
Oh, absolutely. Physics isn't an absolute. It'd be redefined daily. So, yeah.
Whoa, physics isn't an absolute? What do you mean? So you're telling me that there is physical like dropping a rock. Physical. That's a physical. That'll change. Yeah. That's not an absolute. What are you talking about, bro?
Wow.
Yeah. Well, I can't tell you that tomorrow the laws of physics won't work or will work.
You can't. Okay, so until that day. Until they change, they're absolute.
Yes.
Okay, so then you can revise your statement and say that the laws of physics are the physical interactions are absolute until proven otherwise.
That's the same statement, yeah.
Okay, good.
Can I just say something? Can you hear me here, guys? Hello?
Yeah.
Can you hear me? Hello? Yeah, how come Paige is turning at 400 miles an hour? I'm turning at 800 miles an hour, and probably Jimbo's turning at 1,000 miles an hour. How'd you work that out? How does that work out? Is there a difference? Can we feel it, or what? Where's the maths in that?
You've asked such a broad question that I don't know if there's even a singular answer to that. You need to be more specific.
Right. You say that the atmosphere is moving, right? The globe, okay? Right. I'm in France, okay? I'm turning at 800 miles an hour. Probably Paige is in Australia. She's turning at 400 miles an hour. Somebody on the equator in here is turning at 1,000 miles an hour. And somebody in America is turning at 600 miles an hour. Where's the difference? How do we feel this? It's like we're on a spinning ball, aren't we?
Yeah, why do you expect us to feel? Okay, so everybody on Earth is rotating at 15 degrees per hour. It's just because it's spherical, there is an angular velocity difference at various parts on the sphere. But that's irrelevant to the fact everyone is turning at 15 degrees per hour.
How would you demonstrate that?
Can that be measured?
What, the speed? Can the speed be measured?
Yeah, like Paige, like I'm turning at 800 miles an hour at the moment as I speak, and Paige is turning at 400 miles an hour. Like, it's funny. I'm turning twice the speed as her. Like, I can't feel anything. Paige doesn't feel anything either. Like, do we not feel any difference?
Right, but you're not going to feel anything in relation to the ground. It's not like the ground's a treadmill and you're going to land on it and your feet are going to go from underneath you. You're spinning at the same speed as it. And so is the atmosphere. So how would you know?
So how would you demonstrate drift then?
Exactly. You can't do it terrestrially. Hang on, drift is a different thing. That's
you
a different
don't have
topic.
any proof Earth is spinning?
Yes, because you have to take external coordinates.
Now,
you can't. You're on the Earth.
I have a question for you now. The moon is spinning at 10 miles an hour, okay? Okay? Listen to me now. The moon is spinning at 10 miles an hour, 10.3 exactly miles an hour, according to NASA. Okay? How the fuck did that lander land on the moon?
How?
Yeah. How did that
lander? It was piloted. It was piloted.
Sorry?
You know, pilots can land on a ship that's bouncing up and down in the ocean. Yeah.
Okay. So that moon is spinning at 10 miles an hour. When those astronauts, by the way, when they're running around the moon, when they jumped up, jumped up fucking playing golf or whatever, that moon is spinning at 10 miles an hour. There's no gravity there. There's no fucking atmosphere. That moon is spinning at 10
no atmosphere.
Unfortunately, you're incorrect about the no gravity. There is gravity.
There's only a 6.
Listen to me now. This is NASA's figures. The moon is spinning 10 miles an hour. So if you were on the moon, if you were standing on the moon, if you jumped up, you should land 10 meters away. If you jump straight up, you should. Why?
Why? Because if you are standing on, hang on,
the moon is spinning at 10 kilometers.
Okay, I get you. Okay. Allow me to answer. I mean, I'll let you have.
If I jumped up straight up, I should land.
Yeah, let him answer gently.
Now, there's no atmosphere on the moon now. There's no atmosphere on the moon. If I jumped up on the moon, I should land 10 meters, whatever, west of me.
Yeah, I guarantee he'll say conservation of momentum. Let's check it out. Go ahead. What's your answer, Jenny?
Yeah, conservation of momentum. The moon is applying force to your feet, and therefore you are taking the same tangential velocity as the moon when you jump up. You keep the same momentum. You are.
No, you ballers say that the atmosphere goes around the Earth. Now, there's no atmosphere on the moon. We
didn't say the atmosphere.
Moon, okay, they jumped, but the moon is spinning at 10.3 kilometers an hour.
But the atmosphere is what does it on Earth.
No,
there's no atmosphere on the moon.
No,
yes,
it's the conservation of momentum that does it on both.
Yeah, and what causes the conservation of momentum to happen gently?
The fact that you are so you interact
the fact the atmosphere is traveling with the Earth and pulling you along. That's why you have conservation of momentum.
Yes,
there's no atmosphere on the moon.
The same is true for on the moon, because when you stand on the moon, you gain its momentum. Once you have the moon's momentum, you do not lose the moon's momentum.
There's no atmosphere to give that to you. That's what he's saying, that they worked it out.
When were you on the moon?
The moon is a vacuum. There's no fucking atmosphere. There's nothing there.
The atmosphere doesn't give you... It's the interaction with the ground. The atmosphere is rotating because of its interaction with the ground. It's the ground that gives the conservation of momentum.
No, because as soon as you leave the ground is no longer touching you to impart that information on. So it's the atmosphere. You say that's why there's no drift, because the atmosphere moves with the Earth.
Do you understand the word conservation, though? You conserve it. You don't lose your momentum. Once you have the momentum, there is nothing stopping your momentum.
Okay.
So once you put your feet
Do
on
you
the
realise
ground,
you've just
you
given
gain
us
that
perpetual
momentum.
motion? Gently, do you realise you've just said perpetual motion is possible?
Do you know what a vacuum is?
Didn't.
My goodness. If the ground,
Didn't
if
say
something
that.
conserves the momentum of the ground, you literally, all you would have to do is put a motor on the ground, pick it up, and it will be spinning at 1,000 miles an hour.
Yes. What? So what? You can hover in a helicopter, or you can
Like you could have
hover
a
a drone.
wheel. So why can't? Oh my.
The moon is
Sorry, my dog.
spinning at 10.3 kilometers an hour. Okay, and you fucking figure that out, man. You can't. And the Globers say, "Oh yeah, the atmosphere spins around the Earth, so we're always spinning." On the moon, there's no atmosphere. How did they figure that out?
Oh my God! Can you just listen and try and understand? The Earth gives the momentum to the atmosphere. Yeah.
But on the moon, there's no atmosphere, mate. There's no.
No, but it can still give its momentum to you.
Did you verify that?
Oh my God, he's asking.
How do you
verify
that?
Because it's standard in every kind of physics you can ever possibly imagine.
Verification is not still
Physics. You know what? The physics. Fuck all the physics on the moon because you never went to the moon. I'll tell you that. You never went to the moon.
I've never gone to the moon.
No, we never went.
Oh, we did go to the moon.
Do you believe they went to the moon?
No one.
Yeah. Show me the telemetry. I can tell you. Hello.
Curious.
I mean, still there. Yeah.
Curious if he's going to come back or
and
not.
all your telemetry and all that crap. You know what? Did you ever fly a plane? Did you? Did you ever fly a plane? The Globers. Did you ever fly a plane? What's the first thing you do when you take off? What do you do? The first thing you do when you're sitting behind the cockpit, what the fuck? The first thing you do? What's the first thing you do before you take off?
Start the engine? You ain't going nowhere if the engine ain't running.
If they've got the atmosphere moving with the Earth and everything having Earth is the thing that is imparting its momentum, and everything conserves momentum, no matter what it is, it conserves the momentum of the Earth, then you literally have no difference between a spinning Earth and a stationary one.
Correct, and that's I asked that to Jim Panda server, and that was their answer.
I've just worked out where your trick was. That was it.
Yep.
Yeah. So before you take off, what you do, you turn on the engines, correct, and then you cage yourself, because your plane could be upside down. It could be sideways. You cage yourself to that straight runway, and you cage it to 30 degrees for your takeoff. Okay, and you're straight. And that's your life. You cage that. And then you can fly for 3,000, 4,000 miles and you're caged. You're flying across a plane, mate. You're flying across a plane.
Yeah, it's pretty obvious now. Like,
there's no shade. There's no shade about
we've got so much. We've got so much evidence on our side. It's not even.
Yeah.
It's it shouldn't even be a discussion anymore. It should just be accepted and move forward.
I think the discussion will be had until the end of time.
You cage yourself. No, you cage yourselves. You cage attitude meter. You cage. You know the rising thing on the thing. Normally, every nose on an airplane is 30 degrees. Okay, so you cage that to a flat earth, to the flat runway. You cage, and then you go. That's your life. That's your fucking life. That's your plane. Okay, you go left, you go right, you go up, you go down. That's your life, and there's no fucking shite about fucking 8 inches to the mile square. You don't dip your nose. You fucking keep that horizon going, and you can fly for 9,000 miles. There you go.
And Gadget, isn't it true that all verticals will be parallel to each other and all horizontals will be parallel to each other and they will be perpendicular to each other?
Not in spherical geometry.
No, fuck geometry. Yeah, across geometry. We all did.
Here on Earth, when we measure things like water.
You mean Euclidean geometry.
Which is what we use on the Earth when we measure the Earth. Yeah.
Not spherical geometry?
Yeah, you're all talking fucking
Nope,
bullshit.
Euclidean.
Do you know what?
Thanks for the clarification.
The Globers are hanging on. You're all fucked. He's all hanging on. He's hanging on to bullshit. Look out. Open your fucking eyes, man.
Yeah, the more the evidence piles up on our side, the more doublespeak that I hear. I mean, you point out the whole Coriolis / when you jump, you land in the same spot thing and how that the two can exist together. And they just start going doublespeak, conservation of momentum. And they do the same with that 3-body problem. I mean, it just never stops.
The Coriolis virus.
Yes, exactly.
Oh, that is brilliant, isn't it?
Yep.
They're all infected with the Coriolis virus. Makes them
I love
so
that.
diseased.
I love that. It's hilarious right now. I don't even know what Coriolis is.
Hey guys, I have a NASA plan. I need money to do it, but do you know those helium balloons that go up to 38,000 feet, whatever, or 70,000 feet?
Yeah, like the one Bob had.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was good.
Did he cut out for anyone else? Are you there, Gadget?
I wanted to.
I can't hear. I can't hear Gadget. If you can hear us, we can't hear you, mate. Sorry.
I think Discord's getting all screwy.
Can you hear me? 1, 2.
Oh, now I can, Gadget. Yes.
Yeah. Paige.
Yeah, and Alio, or whoever that was. Yeah.
All right. I want to go back to this. This is how brainwashed or the doublespeak. What gently, I was wanting to interrupt, but I couldn't be bothered because I'm lying in my scratcher. But I had to talk about it. He said inertial momentum. Right. Well, inertial is the resistance to movement.
Hang on, isn't yeah.
But wait a minute.
Just...
Yeah, listen,
okay.
listen to what he said though. So he said something that's got resistance, inertial momentum, and momentum is a property an object has when it's moving. So he's basically saying an inertial momentum. It's totally opposite. You can't use that in the same sentence. Because something that's not moving is an inertial frame of reference. You get that? So it's not moving, but it's got momentum. Something that's not moving hasn't got momentum.
Has momentum, yeah. So yeah,
it doesn't
got
have
them
momentum.
Both in the one.
Yeah, exactly. So he was double speaking, and he didn't have a clue what he was talking about. And they two guys, they're just trolls.
I didn't catch that.
He just made that up. There's not such a thing.
Yes,
we destroyed him, right? The hand destroyed him like 4 times. I destroyed him a few times. Like, and they just keep going. It's like nothing ever gets through.
You know, he thinks he won, right?
Yeah.
Oh, I bet he does. Away. Yeah.
He'll be back over at Germ. He'll be back over at Germ Pandas.
Yeah, going. I guarantee Aaron's sitting listening to this going, oh, yeah, they got their asses smashed. Yeah, those fellas, they're fucking stupid. Ah.
They're so dumb.
Oh, wow.
Ah, but we are so dumb.
So frustrating. Sometimes I think it is because it's so simple. Because it gets back to vertical is just vertical and horizontal is just horizontal, and how fucking stupid were we to think they were anything else? Like, because we went off on all these weird-ass thought experiments, we ended up so far from reality that they can't get back there.
Paige, it's because it's easier to fool a man than it is to convince a man that he has been fooled.
They've been, yeah.
Yeah, that's a great quote.
Too true.
Paige. Now, I'm not a pilot, but I went up a few times and I flew airplanes, okay? Because I have a good buddy. He's actually a pilot now in Air France, okay? So to get his hours up, he used to fly little Cessna planes, okay? And I seen all this shit. There's no fucking Coriolis effect. There's no, it's all wind and fucking altitude.
Yeah, all they've got, they measure everything on a horizontal plane, and then your vertical, all your vertical ever is elevation from sea level. That's all it ever is. So.
And before you take off, it's your attitude, right? Your airplane could be sideways.
All right, well, I'm out of here, guys. Have a good
Did
one.
we lose you again, Gadget?
Who's that?
Or were you finished?
Global virus folk?
I was just saying I'm taking off. Have a good one, guys.
Hey, glad you were here. Thank you.
No problem.
I think I'm going to take off too. I was just popping back in, see if you guys are all still hanging out.
No, never.
I was just about to say the same thing. I'm out of here, guys. I'll catch you all.
Maybe see you guys
or
tomorrow,
in
Monday.
The next one. Yep. All right.
Ciao.
Jeez, nobody in here now. Aaron, you there? Hello? 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 Jimbo, are you there?